So I had my first aha moment walking IKEA today. Um, you know how a lot of times we all like to say, especially as women, we always like to say we're dating with intention, we're moving with intention. I want to be a wife. So this is new to me, to be completely honest with you. I've never been a woman that says, "Oh, I want to get married." Like I wasn't the little girl who dreamt of her dream wedding. Like I just never had that for myself until I turned about 40, 41 years old. And then I was like, yo, I could see myself being somebody's wife. And in that moment, when I realized that I wanted to be a wife, when I wanted to be married, I realized that, all right, in order for me to do this, there's some things that I need to do. And like I went the very superficial level of the things that I needed to do. And when I say the superficial level, like, I made sure I took care of my finances because I didn't want to come to the party, being a burden to my husband, would come into the party with like a shitload of debt. I learned to cook because Lord knows I did not know how to cook. Like I knew how to cook enough to get by for me, but I didn't know how to be consistently cooking with my own go-to recipes, planning the dinner parties and stuff like that. And these are just things that I noticed that my mom did very well. I had to learn how to be a better listener, and a better follower, and somebody who was considerate. So like there are core things that I had to learn in order to be a good partner. And I took the time and I did that. I also took the time and went to therapy as well because well, therapy was for a whole nother reason. I didn't do it just because I wanted to be a wife. Like I needed therapy because I was drowning. I was 3 seconds from just cutting out a life. So once I went to therapy, I had this level of, I worked through my traumas, I worked through the things that triggered me. I did the work that I thought I needed. And now in this season, I'm in the season post therapy, I'm in the season post grief, I'm back to being outside for the first time again. And I realized when I was dating someone, and I'm dating somebody and it's somebody that I care about, I realized there were certain things that I still don't know, and that I still need to work on. So my aha moment is like, I'm still not ready to date with intention. Do y'all know how humbling that is, to still at this big ass age of 47 still not be ready to date with intention? And when I say that, it's because I realize that I still exist in life in silos. And I think I said that in my first video, being delusional. And as I've been doing my delusional work, I'm realizing that I still truly, truly live my life in silos. Like we're not joined together. Like all the parts of me survive separately. All the parts of me show up differently depending on the situation that I'm in. And I'm realizing that even with myself, that I struggle to exist completely in the privacy with myself. And I'm just like, why? Because that's my big thing. When something don't make sense to me, I had to ask myself why. Like why am I struggling with that? And I realized that as much as I thought I trusted myself with me, I don't. I trust portions of myself with me. Some portions of myself I'm highly protective of. And because I'm highly protective of it, I don't share it hardly anywhere. I got to keep her safe. Like that's the soft side of me. That's the whimsical side of me. That's the side of me that just wants to experience joy. And I'm like, no, I got to protect her because for so long she didn't get to exist. So I can't let everybody have access to her. It's like I'm still in a form of survival. And, and in order for me to be able to present and to live and to make sure that the partner that I am choosing, that I am aligned with and compatible with, I have to be aligned and compatible with all the sides of me and be safe with myself and trust myself that all these parts of me can exist, freely together and just show up, fluidly as they want, not compartmentalized, not in silos. So I'm learning to allow the different versions of me to coexist. Yeah. And in learning that, one of the things that I'm doing like my self-trust exercises and everything. Like if you follow me on TikTok, you probably seen, I'm folding my clothes and I was like, you know what, this Olivia Dean song is hitting. I'm dancing to that and allowing myself to dance and sing off beat and everything, and document it, and not just document it, but share it in a way that I'm putting myself out there on the internet. Like, I'm letting people see how stiff my hips are if I don't stretch first. I'm letting people see that I am not a good dancer whatsoever. Like, I only dance well with tequila. And so, and I posted it anyway. And I realized when I did it, guess what? That free spirited, soft version of me, she wasn't ashamed. She wasn't like, oh, we shouldn't. Like, she was like, yeah, do that shit, do that shit. And I did. So like now I'm working on different practices with myself to allow the different versions of myself to come and go and to be as fluid as they want, to coexist with each other, to talk to each other. You know, I'm coming out of a different version of survival that I didn't know that I was doing. And so yeah, and hopefully when I get to the other side of this, hopefully I can be like, all right, girl, now we ready. Now we can go ahead and start dating with intention. But in the meantime, there's another thing I gotta work on too. I gotta work on communication. I thought I was a great communicator. I think I shared this with some of y'all before. Like, I'm a great communicator with my friends and my family and with myself, but I realized that I don't communicate well with my partners. And it's because I never really had practice doing so. Like, I always was somebody who was in situationships or in failed relationships or just went with the flow of whatever situation I was in. And so, in doing that, I'm just always going with the flow and never really speaking up for myself, or being a participant in the relationship or the situationship that I was in. I didn't have practice communicating. And the person I'm dating now is a good communicator for me. It's like patient, like he's very patient with me and handles me with care. And even though like I can come to him, and I can come to him without any issue, I can come to him and it's received, and that's new to me. Like, I am so used to pushing off and not trying to come with problems or not voicing what I need or concerns, because I was afraid of a form of rejection. I was afraid of not being received well. And so this is so new territory for me, and I'm appreciative of how I get to grow with him. I'm appreciative of how I get to learn myself with him. So I'm seeing a different version of me as I'm dating this man too. So yeah, that's where I am this Saturday morning on my walk with Nakia. Y'all probably seen Nakia in the clip somewhere, because she ready for the walk to come back and continue. She's like, I didn't sign up for a content Saturday. She's like, I signed up for a walk. So it's the Brown Girl. This is another episode of Miss Education of the Brown Girl, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.